Paragold is the destination for luxury home. We've brought the world's best design brands together in one place. From traditional to modern, indoors to out, our curated selection of furnishings and home improvements transforms every space. Get inspired with our go-to edits, featuring expert styling tips and exclusive designer shops, where trusted tastemakers pick products they love. With fast, free, full-service delivery on most items, we make it easy to bring your vision to life. Ready for extraordinary? Shop now on Paragold.com.
Are your ulcerative colitis symptoms proving difficult to manage? Tremfya guselkumab can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. At 1 year, many patients taking Tremfya achieved clinical remission, and some patients also achieved endoscopic remission. Individual results may vary. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Ask your doctor if Tremfya can help you manage the cycle of UC symptoms. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more, or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Do you ever wish you could give back to the community and get some awesome gym gear at the same time? Well, Imperial Athletics has you covered, with 5% of all profits going towards the Canadian Mental Health Association. Imperial Athletics has officially announced the Resilience Drop. The Resilience Drop is a mental health-focused athletic wear collection that embodies strength, perseverance, and self-growth. Designed for performance and purpose, each piece supports both physical movement and mental resilience. We've been really excited to partner up with Imperial Athletics so far. If you've heard before, we've said we have a promo code with them, Jungle10. That is no longer our promo code. We have now upped it to Jungle15 for 15% off your first order. On top of that, you can sign up for their rewards program and receive an extra $5 off your order. So $5 off if you sign up for the rewards, and 15% off if you use code Jungle15 on your first order. Visit the Imperial Athletics online store at imperialathletics.com to claim the benefits and rewards waiting for you. Be sure to follow them on Instagram and TikTok at Imperial_athletics to be the first to know of all the latest product releases and exclusive offers. This podcast is sponsored by Imperial Athletics. All right, Joe, we got a big one today. Our next guest from Maple Ridge, British Columbia. He started off his junior career with the Ridge Meadows Flames and also played for the Abbotsford Pilots. He then moved on to play in the FPHL, SPHL, and CHL for 3 years before retiring from professional hockey. After an 8-year hiatus, he returned to pro hockey to play for the Danbury Hat-Tricks of the FPHL and has now advanced to the ECHL, where he played last season for the Kansas City Mavericks. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Daniel Diamond Hands Amesbury to the Jungle Hockey Podcast. Ames, how you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me on, fellas. Appreciate it.
It's an honor, bud.
It's an absolute honor. Awesome. Big fans.
We wanted this one to be in person, but it just didn't line up. So we're just happy to have you on here.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Love what you guys got going on.
Oh yeah, that means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I remember, obviously, I've been following your career for a while now. Like, I remember first seeing stuff about you when the whole Ice Wars thing was going on, and just been following kind of since then. So we'll get into all that, but maybe if we just want to start off, like, could you tell us a bit about your hockey roots, like growing up? Who got you into hockey? Like, what was your inspiration? If it was a person, or just what was it like for you when you first got started as a kid?
Yeah, so, obviously I grew up in Maple Ridge. My dad kind of was the one obviously pushing me to get into hockey. I outside of my dad, I can't say I had my cousins played and stuff like that, but nobody super that I was super drawn to as far as the game really. It was just, at the end of the day, I loved it. And, I played hockey and baseball, and that's pretty much it as a kid growing up. And, I kind of got to the point, you get to a certain age, you kind of got to pick one. And I was definitely a better baseball player. And my dad was a ball player. He never played hockey really. But when he was always pushing me, come on, you got to go baseball. Cause I was always played AAA. I was always a better ball player, but just something about hockey, right? Like you guys know, it's just the energy and just being able to hit and all that. It's just, couldn't pass it up. So just kept, chasing it around, and obviously ended up in the Pidge, and here I am. however
So
many years later.
before you end up in the pitch, you play just kind of minor hockey. You know, were you a rep guy? Did you ever play like zone or anything, or was it just kind of you're always a better ball player? You said.
Yeah, so I was definitely always a better ball player. Like ball was like AAA for usually my first year and second year. I'd play AAA. Hockey was like house first year, B1 or double
No
A.
way.
You know what I mean? Like every year, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? So as a first year, it was like generally a bubble guy on the B2 team, and then generally get cut, and then you're like the best player in the house, and it's like not that it's fun, but it's like it's not the same, right? So and then the second years, I'd never be good enough to play in the AAA. I was always like right there. And then my third year midget, which was, third year midget. Well, I feel like I finally, like I'm a third year now and I end up making the AAA team. And that was in Maple Ridge. And we actually ended up, winning provincials that year. We had an unreal team, kids that I'd grown up with since little. I was actually just with one of them the other day. And, I'm actually with a few more than one of them, a few of them last week. So it's like, is it that tight of a team, like where we just grew up together and we weren't the best team in the league, but we ended up winning provincials based on just our gel and our willingness to go to war for each other. And then that was kind of what opened other doors for me after that.
That's awesome. Yeah. So, I mean, so like when you were a kid growing up, like would you go watch Flames games? Like, were you a big fan?
Yeah.
Were you just, yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah, totally. Like, it was like younger days, I'd go with my dad, like it was like every Friday night, I think they're still playing on Friday nights, but, we'd go with my dad every Friday night as a kid. And then you get a little bit older. And I think like, maybe like going into grade 8 and stuff, then you want to go with your boys and like, everybody's got why do you got a backpack on? All the guys got backpacks on. You're going down to the Flames game. You're spending half the game outside. Right. But yeah, so it was always a part of my life going to the Flames games when I was young. So, I mean, to us, like, I don't know, man. I feel like I didn't have enough influence, like on like the really skilled hockey side. Like I didn't really know a lot about routes or where you could go. And like, if you didn't make a junior A team in BC, you could probably go to Alberta or Saskatchewan or Manitoba or Ontario, wherever, or you could go to the States, play in the NA. Like you never, like I didn't know about any of that stuff. And it was just kind of like, honestly, man, I was just playing with my buddies and, just to make the Flames was like a huge honor for me. Like I never thought in a million years I'd make it on that team.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like you play for 2 years in Ridge, I believe, and then you go to Abbotsford. So just, like what was your entire junior experience like from being a rookie all the way up till your final season in Abbey there?
To add to that, what was the league like? Like what was
of course.
Because dude,
it was
a while
the true
ago,
jungle back then.
I don't want to call you too old, but
yeah,
I mean,
it was pretty wild. Yeah, it was definitely a little different than you see now. Like I go to a Flames game now, I'm like, holy, like it's like the game in hockey in general. It's skill, right? Like, but juniors even more so. It's like so skill. Like the odds of seeing a fighter like slim to none nowadays. Like you get a handful a year. I don't know exactly, but definitely you're not getting them every game. And it was fights every game back then. But to be honest, the crazy part was like I was a D man. Like I should never have been a D man in the first place. I should have always been a forward. But it was just like I'm trying to make the team. Just came out of midget AAA. I didn't even think that anybody would want me to play. I got a couple of camp invites for junior B teams. I was like, oh my god, sweet. And I go to Ridge Meadows. Obviously, like that was the team we grew up watching. So I go to camp, and I remember pretty well. Like I was going at it with the other team's captain. We both end up in the penalty box. He's like an overager. He's turning 21 or whatever. Last year in the season, I don't know, 17 or whatever it was. And I ended up, we both got 10s and we're in the box. I was wearing a cage and everything. And we're looking I guess whatever, he yelling at each other. He said, we get out, we're going. And I'm like, fuck, like now I'm kind of scared. I'm like, I don't know. Like I've done this, I've done it before, but I'm like, I've never like known I'm going to do it kind of like that, So next thing you know, I end up fighting this guy and did really well. And, opened up a can of worms, I guess, for myself. Cause I don't know if I would have made the team otherwise. And I remember the assistant coach came running in like, holy shit, we didn't know you could do that. Great work. Like so pumped and pretty much got offered a contract right away. And, it was, I feel like that I remember very vividly that whole scenario and feel like it really opened some doors for me and, obviously got my foot in the door and I've been kind of doing it that way ever since. So
was that kind of where it started? Like the whole, almost role player, like go out there and send a message type thing, or was that part of your game before
Yeah, like
in
were
Midget
you
there?
were you fighting as a kid at school, or were you just like pretty chill
Yeah.
off the ice and just had your wires cross on it? Like,
No, I was always like always pretty pretty like ready to engage if I ever needed to. Like, not that I was
okay,
looking for it. I definitely wasn't like being a dick to anybody in elementary school and stuff. Like, it was more just I always knew like I was willing to protect myself. My dad worked at the jail. Like, I grew up pretty tough. My dad kind of raised me
okay,
that way. So like, yeah, fights in elementary school, even like I remember this one kid I'd fight every year, and it was like he was big, he'd pick on me, and then near the end of the year, every year, it'd be like, all right, I'll stand up for myself, and this kid would beat me up, and I'd come home, and my dad'd be like, what happened? I'd tell him, oh, Casey, he got me again, but I stood up for myself. So it did start young, but it was like like I said, it's you never expect it. I had a hockey fight or two in minor hockey, and then you get into junior, and now it's like a part of the game, and you can fight. And I just remember, once that happened, I made the team, and then I could do it. Like, I wasn't fighting the toughest guy in the league at that point. It was just kind of fighting like middleweights or whoever, like just trying to get people to fight when I could get the boys going and stuff. And you start to learn it a little bit, and then next thing you know, the next year I think I fought one of the toughest guys, and Carson Bradshaw. I'll never forget this guy's name. It's got to be like the toughest name, yeah, Carson Bradshaw, he's the toughest guy in the league. And I remember the next year we were down like 6-1 or 6-2 in Port Moody. And I look at my coach. I said, "Hey, I'm going to go Bradshaw. Put me out." And he goes, "No, you're not. No, you're not doing it." Like, he's basically like he's going to kick your ass. And I was like, "I don't care. Put me out." And he's like, "Are you sure?" He said, "All right." I remember very vividly. He said, "Hang on." Like, hang on, like, good luck, dude. Like, sending me in to get my ass kicked, right? And I did really good. I broke his nose. Like, just I was really fast. And
Jeez,
then
man.
after that, it was like, all right, now the target was on my back, and kind of finish out my last couple seasons in the Pidge as one of the guys. And then by the time I was done, I was kind of the guy, and everybody was kind of whether they're either avoiding me or trying to take the belt at that point.
right, yeah, yeah. Oh, it's sweet. Yeah, I see you had over 1,000 PIMs in your PJ career in 3 years. So that's pretty pretty
It's gotta be
incredible
some sort of
numbers
record.
there. Yeah.
There's that funny story about that. Like, I had like a game or two left, and it was the front page or I don't know if it was front page, it was in the newspaper. Will he reach 1,000 penalty minutes? Like, I still have it. I still have it clipped
No
out in my
way.
parents. My parents still have it clipped out. So will he reach
That's
1,000 penalty minutes? And I
unbelievable.
had like 2 games left, and it was funny, man. I was giving it to the refs, trying to get the extra dime. Every time something would happen, I'd be yelling at the refs, just trying to rack up as many PIMs as I could near the end there, and I did end up getting it. So 1,000 penalty minutes in 3 seasons. So
That's absolutely
Unreal.
unreal.
Wow. Yeah. And then I mean obviously after that you end up making a jump next season to play in the FHL back then it was called. So just how did that come about? And I mean like what did you obviously I mean you're talking about you were playing house and B growing up, like this was probably something you never expected to play pro hockey after
yeah,
junior.
yeah, definitely didn't expect it. And like Anthony Collins, another guy that I played with him a little bit. I'm not even sure if we played regular season games together, but he's still playing in the Coast. And this is a funny story. He called me. I was working on the pipeline. I was done with junior. I thought I'm never playing hockey again. Like, you're all depressed. You've going through it, right? Like, you really don't expect to ever play the game again. You're like, oh, like I'll not, it's like I'm retired now, and I was working that summer on the pipeline. I got a call from Anthony Collins, and he says, "Hey man, what are you doing this season?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? Like, I'm aged out. Like,
What
what could I
season?
possibly do? Yeah, what could I possibly do? Like, I'm not playing anywhere." And he goes, "You want to come to this tryout in the FHL? It's like a pro team or something." Like, blah, blah, blah. Tells me the details. I look it up. I'm like, FHL. It's like Slapshot League. Like, it's like literally that's literally the patch they have on their shoulders. It's the FHL in Slapshot,
Yeah.
Charleston Chiefs. I'm like, what the hell? Like, what league is this? So next thing you know, I end up going, and just, it was for the adventure. Like, I never expected to make the team or whatever. And I think, I've had a hell of a start. I was playing D, and I had 2 goals, two assists, and 5 fights in my first 7 games. And I got called up like almost right away to the SP. So it was a really crazy start, and honestly, just never could have imagined it in a million years that I even would have made it to there or the SP, and here I am.
Yeah. Well, I one other quick thing just about that is I did hear a story you told on another pod about something about you driving the team bus and
Yeah.
just like your housing situation, and you just like
Oh,
mention a bit of the stuff you went through at the start of your pro career.
What did the
yeah.
contract look like, dude?
Oh, dude.
Like,
Well, my first contract in the FPHL was $175 a week. So, yeah, 175. So like, I'm lucky I was working on the pipeline, so I had money. So it was like, to
Yeah,
me,
of
it really
course.
didn't
Yeah.
matter. Thank God, right? Like I spent all my savings that year. Like me and the boy, I took the boys out all the time. Like I thought I was so cool because I had money. But yeah, it didn't. I wish it would have lasted me a couple more seasons. But no, it was like I said, nobody there is doing it for the money. Even to this day, anybody in those leagues, they're just playing for the love of the game and
Right.
maybe trying to get to the next level, maybe not. But they're definitely not there for the money, which is it makes those leagues really special in themselves because, like I said, there's no entitlement. There's no like. I shouldn't be here. It's, or whatever. Maybe there's a little bit I shouldn't be here, but there's nobody that's there for the money, which, it really changed.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Commercial Insurance. Business owners meet Progressive Insurance. They make it easy to get discounts on commercial auto insurance and find coverages to grow with your business. Quote in as little as 7 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company. Coverage provided and serviced by affiliated and third-party insurers. Discounts and coverage selections not available in all states or situations.
Is the dynamic when there's people that aren't just there chasing paychecks. So
Yeah.
right.
but
Yeah,
sorry, let me explain a little bit.
No, you're good.
So based
Yeah.
on that, like, I remember Danville, that was like the first team I played for. We're on the middle of like a 20-day road trip, literally the most insane road trip of my life. Our coach quits in New Jersey, leaves us, and he takes the bus driver with him. So then I got suspended. I ran the goalie in New Jersey, so I just got suspended. So we get on the bus and we got nobody to drive the bus. Literally, some guy's dad, a guy, Joe Pace's dad, Joe Pace brings his dad. He's like, okay, this is our new coach now. Like, this guy just quit. He's like, I'm going to call my dad. He's a half an hour away. Like, the fuck is going on right now? And then, he goes, so next thing you know, we're on the bus. Everybody's got to sleep because they play tomorrow in New Jersey. Well, Amesbury's suspended, so yeah, I get to drive the bus. And long story short, it was a long trip. I ended up making it part of the way before I gave up, and then the trainer started driving. I'm like, forget this, man. I just parked it and just walked to the back of the bus. I'm like, you guys can figure this thing out. I'm over it.
Oh my
And my
God.
trainer starts driving it, and he's just beating the shit out of the transmission. By the time we got to New Jersey, we're pulling into the parking lot 2 hours late for the game, and the bus is legit on fire, and we're ripping our gear off the bus. And then, that was the beginning. This is like my first road trip ever. Like I've never been on a road trip like this, like in junior or pro. Like in junior, we didn't have buses and stuff. Like it wasn't, in the Pidge, right? Like you're not going too far.
Yeah.
So I was like, what is going on? And then the team like wouldn't get us a hotel. They're like, everybody's sleeping on the bus. It was absolutely insane. And then
The bus is on fire. You're sleeping on the bus?
Yeah, oh yeah. And then we finally make it back to Danbury, which is like just outside Chicago. Not the nicest place, probably like Wally, like the whole city. And like we get in there and it's fucking like, sorry, I swear again, this place is
fine.
like our little house is like a 3-bedroom shack. They're trying to put half the team in there. I walk in, I'm like, there's air mattresses all over the house. I'm like, I call my dad right away. I'm like, Dad, like, I can't do this anymore. He's like, oh, don't worry. Like, you're having a good start. Like, don't worry. Just plug through. Like, you'll be good, right? I'm like, Dad, like, I'm coming. This is a joke. I go back to the pipeline. Like, this is crazy. You know what I mean? And then not even, I think 2 days later, my dad gets a call on his house phone looking for me. The FPHL team, Columbus and the SP, called my dad on his house phone. And then I don't even know how they got a hold of him, but they got a hold of my dad. My dad calls me. Next thing you know, I'm on my way to the SP. And funny thing is, I get down there and I get the first practice, and they come up to me right away, like, "What the fuck you doing? You're in the wrong line." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "You're in the defensive line." I said, "I'm a defenseman." They're like, "What? What do you mean?" They thought I was a forward. So they go, coaches have a little powwow. They're all talking to each other. Like, what are we going to do? Right. And they're like, come up to me like, hey, you're a forward now, right wing. go in this line over here. And I'm like, buddy, I can't even catch a pass on my backhand here, let alone picking up rims and stuff. So that whole season, at the end of every practice, my coach would stand behind the net with like 100 pucks, and he'd just rip rims, and I'd have to just pick them up on my backhand and chip them off the glass.
Oh my God.
And he would just make me do it every day. He's like, listen, this is all you have to do. Just pick these puck up, chip it off the glass, and then just hunt on the forecheck. I'm like, all right, still to this day, working on the same thing, So, so that was kind of my introduction to pro hockey. And ever since then, I've been a forward.
So you get a little pay raise when you went to the SP, or what was it like when you finally made it to Columbus?
Well, Columbus is a great place to play. They took such good care of all of us,
That's good.
I mean, the team's folded, so you can kind of say what you want, but like we were all getting cash envelopes. So we'd get our cap money, and then you'd have everybody was getting taken care of. Like, it was a lot better. It was like playing in the NHL compared to where I was. And to this day, that organization is like, they take care of their players. But, right back then it was obviously different, but, it was great. We ended up winning a championship, great group of guys. And I learned a ton about, how to be, an efficient enforcer and really just learn about my end of the game and how to be the most effective, and kind of got me to the next level.
Right. And then when you're in Columbus over the next 2 seasons, you ended up playing about 70 games in the CHL, which, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think ended up becoming the ECHL or merging with the ECHL.
Yeah.
So, and that was also during one of the lockouts in the NHL. So you probably would have been playing against some crazy competition at that point.
Yeah. The first time I got called up, I went from the SP the season before to the Central League during the NHL lockout. So it was like going from, it was like jumping 3 levels, right? Like it's like going from the SP to the American League, basically. And then, fighting all those guys, Aaron Bugard, Kip Brennan, Kip Brennan, I don't know how many NHL games he had, but like he fought Chara, like literally like the season or 2 before. So, I'm 22, 23 at the time, right? Like I'm still pretty young. So, I was just fighting everybody, just doing whatever I had to do to stay there. And then the next season, I kind of figured it was going to be my last, and I was going to go back to the SP. And then next thing you know, I got called up again and decided I was going to finish in Denver. And, that was my last season before I retired. And that was actually the next season is when the ECHL and the CHL merged together.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Right. Yeah. We lost in the finals that year. So we had a really good team. And,
wow.
Yeah, the team that beat us actually won the ECHL the following year too. So it was pretty competitive. Yeah, but definitely a different game than what you see nowadays when you watch that level.
So then kind of what happens after that for you timeline-wise here? Yeah,
basically. So, I was lucky enough to, during this whole kind of movement, like when all this kind of happened, the fall after my first pro season, or no, maybe it was before my first pro season. No, I think it was after. So after my first pro season, I'm coming back, and I think, or maybe, I honestly can't remember the timing, but I started playing lacrosse. Like it was my first time ever playing lacrosse. Yeah. So I started playing lacrosse my 3rd year of junior. So it was like my age out year of junior. Like I never played any other years. It was like I was a 21-year-old. I could play 1 season and that was it, right? Yeah, never played lacrosse in my life, dude. And I lied to the coach, told the coach I used to play, like they were looking for a tough guy. And my buddy was their tough guy, but he couldn't fight because he got knocked out real bad. He's like, dude, you got to come play for us. We're like at Roosters and we're like just talking. He's like, yo, you got to come play for my team. We're having this talk at the back of Roosters over beers thinking like we got this master plan. He's like, I'm going to get my coach to call you, tell him you used to play. I'll tell him how tough you are and like this and that. So I'm like, all right, I have no idea what I'm getting into. Get a call a couple days later. Hey, this is Daniel Perreault from the Junior A Salmon Bellies. This is like number 2 team in Canada.
You've never even played.
Never played lacrosse in my life. I'm like, I used to play when I was a kid. Like I'm a little rusty, but like I'll fight anybody, this and that. It's all right. Come out to tryouts, right? So I ended up going to tryouts, literally no clue how to play lacrosse. I'm just running around asking everyone to fight. Nobody would fight me. And then finally I looked down my own bench and I'm like, hey, will any of you guys fight me? And this one guy, Patty, like great kid. He's like, yeah, I'll go you. I'm like, okay, perfect. I took a guy's jersey on the other team. I switched teams and fought my teammate. Just because I'm like, man, I don't want to look like I got to show him something. I can't catch the ball, so I got to show him something. Yeah. So I ended up weaseling my way in there, and I ended up, playing a full season, playing playoffs, going to the finals, and I ended up getting drafted 11th overall the following year to the WLA. So the cool part was when, yeah. So yeah, it was a different time, you know what I mean? And like, honestly, like I picked it up pretty quick. Like I wouldn't touch the ball. I'd just be playing straight defense, and I would just be like, no one would really come near me. So it kind of made my job easy. But
Yeah.
so I had that when I was done hockey. I had that. So I played senior lacrosse there. In my time off, I played senior lacrosse. I played for the Burrards for like 6 years, maybe 7 years.
Jeez,
But that kind of helped me kind of stay a little bit active, at least have something kind of going on. But at the end of the day, I didn't have I wasn't doing a whole lot outside of that. Like I was playing lacrosse, working, and just kind of surviving, man. It's a little bit lost on my own journey.
Right. So was lacrosse still the same message sender? Basically the same games you're playing as on the ice, or how'd it work?
Pretty well, yeah. Like lacrosse back then was very, very rowdy. I didn't really get there didn't seem to be a code in lacrosse. Like if somebody jumps your goal scorer, like normally you're gonna beat the guy up that beat up your goal scorer, right? Like when I was in junior, someone jumps our goal scorer, they're like, okay, go jump their goal scorer. And I'm like, what do you mean, dude? What about the guy that just went after our guy? They're like, oh, we don't care about that. Go beat up their best player. And I'm like, that's not I didn't really feel right about that. I don't get it, but it was just wild back then, especially in junior. And then you get to senior, and it was obviously a little bit better dialed in. But there was quite a bit of fighting, and obviously not more than there is now, but kept me somewhat active. Have a handful of fights every year, and get to have beers in the room with the boys. At the end of the day, that's really the medicine, honestly, is just being around the boys. So
yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, I mean, and then obviously, while you're playing lacrosse, you have this huge gap, and then I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, you'll explain the details of it, but Ice Wars happens, and you end up somehow getting a hold of AJ Galante, and then you go to Ice Wars, you win it, and then all of a sudden you're playing pro hockey in Danbury, of all places, after not too long after that documentary came out too. So just tell us the whole, everything about that Ice Wars, Danbury, AJ, what he's like, your relationship now. It seems like it's really grown a lot for you. So
no, AJ's my boy. So yeah, man, obviously, we all seen the doc and we're like, this is cool, this is rad, right? If only I could have been at one of those games back in the day. I loved it. And so I knew who AJ was and stuff. And I remember he puts out the thing that they're doing Ice Wars, and a couple of my buddies send it to me, and they're like, hey, dude, you got to check this out. I think you might be built for this, And so I just start DMing AJ right away. I'm like, hey, this is who I am. I send him my EP. These are the guys I fought. I'll fight anybody. I don't care who they are. Literally just get me in the door, I'll win the whole thing. And he goes, didn't hear from him for a while. He probably had so much going on. And then I remember finally hearing back from him. He's like, I'll get back to you, and you talk to him now about it. He's like, I looked you up. You didn't have much for a resume. And I didn't really know who you are. You were the smallest guy. I was the smallest guy in the tournament by, 30, 40 pounds. I don't even know. I think I was 220. I think the smallest guy was 255. So it was crazy. I was significantly smaller than all the other guys. And then yeah, man, at the end of the day, he's all right. I had a couple phone calls with him, and I think we did a Skype, and that was when he was really kind of liked me, called me after. He's kind of thought, this guy's gonna be promotable. We want you to fight in the tournament. I didn't even know it was a tournament at this time. I was just signing up to fight one time, and then next thing you know, I find out to win it, you got to fight 3 times in one night. I'm like, Jesus Christ, dude! These monsters, right? I thought I was just gonna fight one time. Now I'm in it, so I'm like, all right, well, whatever. Here we go. So, I ended up, dude. I trained my ass off for that. It was one of the best things for me, and where I was in my life, just to try and I needed something to not just something to fight for, figuratively, but I needed something to get up and just wake up at 6 a.m. and just have drive to just go work harder than anybody, at that time every day. I knew there was nobody busting their ass as hard as I was in this tournament. And it was a really good lesson for me to do that and kind of tap back into that beast mode. And then, I get to the tournament and I kind of just, I don't want to say I like walked through everybody because it was a war to get through it, but I just felt the mental spot, like where I was mentally, like the whole way, I was just so confident and just like, I had really close fights, but there wasn't a sliver of doubt in my mind that I was going to win that whole thing. Like I just worked so hard for it. And it kind of just showed me this, like gave me this power. And I came out of it so invincible. Like I can literally do anything. Like literally, I truly felt that way. And like, honestly, like I think back now, I'm like, man, I feel like some of the stuff I may have said back then, like even in my interview post-fight, people are probably like, man, this guy's so fucking arrogant. Like if you would have heard it, you might have thought like, man, this guy's like, really, this guy thinks he's just the shit. It's like, no, man. Like I worked so hard. I truly like, I believed I couldn't lose. Like I was that, and I didn't want to sound like an arrogant or anything, but it was like I had this magic inside of me. So then after that, man, my phone starts ringing, FPHL teams and stuff like that. And would you start playing again? I got like agents calling me for senior hockey, like all this stuff. Random people are calling me like, hey, and I'm like, at first I got kids and stuff, man. I got a family. I worked on the tugboats making 6 figures. Like I can't just drop what I'm doing, man. Like obviously. And, mention it, to the wife, like, hey, what if we do this, and, at the end of the day, it was a joke at first. Right. And then, talk to AJ more and more, and he's like, listen, we'll do this, we'll do that. We kind of have a game plan. We'll try and get you boxing. We'll make a podcast. Like, let's try and build something out of this. Like, and also too, like we're like, Ice Wars is going to blow up. You're going to be the face of Ice Wars. Like, so like at the end of the day, I was like, fuck man, like it just kind of grew and grew. And, the offers kept getting bigger and bigger. And it got to the point where the offer was like, you know what, like I can make this happen. It's going to be a sacrifice for sure, but I was like, I can do it. I got the bet. My family is like elite. My woman is elite. Like she supported me 100%. She's like, well, if you're going to do it, let's do it. Like, let's do it 100%. We kind of, at the time, were like really interested in moving to the US too. I was already looking at ways to get back into the US and move down there. And so it was also an opportunity that opened for my whole family to get on that side of the border and start building a life down there and, finding out where we wanted to spend the rest of our lives. And so that's what we did, man. We packed up and, launched across the country. I was first. I went for a few weeks and, the wife and kids were not far behind me. And that journey in itself was insane. Like some of the stuff we went through to kind of get settled in Danbury and get going, but just nothing but gratitude the whole way through. And then, to think that it got me to where I am now is absolutely insane. Cause like, there's no way I would have expected to be able to get my game to the point where I could play a coast game. Cause like, at the end of the day, man, this hockey it's not the ECHL 10, 20 years ago, man. Like this is like the American League 10 years ago. Like it's
there's NHL affiliated players there.
Our goalie this year played an NHL game. This year, like he got called. Yeah, Osman got called up to the American League and then got called up to the NHL. They're losing like 6-0. They put him in, and like I'm like, my whole team's in my hotel room. We're on the road, and every one of us is like, what the fuck? What is this? This is insane. I'm like, I just remember looking at his pads, be like, he's wearing the same pads. I shot on those pads all year, and it just seemed like so surreal that this guy was, playing on our team for half the season. And, now he's in the NHL. And I played against multiple goalies this year with over 150 NHL games, like played against Kincaid, played against, I can't remember the other guy's name, but you played for San Jose for like 5 seasons.
Oh,
Aaron Dell. So like, at the end of the day, man, the ECHL is insane. The deals that these kids are getting, the amount of money, even just the ECHL goalie makes nowadays. It's amazing. Yeah. It's really amazing.
Quick little story is I play university hockey in Springfield, Missouri.
Okay. Nice.
You know where that is? Yeah.
I went through there to go to Branson a couple times.
Yeah, Branson, beautiful place.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not too far from me then.
No, that's where I go to play. I play ACHA 1.
Oh,
ACHA
super cool.
1 hockey. So
nice.
We went to Branson like the last week I was there.
Oh, it's so fun.
Anyway, it's a really cool town. But we came and watched one of your games.
No way.
And it was on your birthday, and I think you were scratched. Dude.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah,
we were so pissed.
Who were we playing? Do you remember?
You're playing Aaron Dell. You're playing Dell's team.
In Wichita.
Wichita.
Yeah.
And we were so pissed. We all wanted to watch you play.
Yeah, I think I
And
had
I just
someone else
remember,
there too for that game too.
yeah, it was ridiculous. We were
Oh man.
so choked.
Oh no. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the worst. I've had family come into town and have that happen before. I had all my boys drive down to Idaho. It was like a 13-hour drive to Idaho. They scratched me the whole weekend. Yeah, it was like the last weekend before prayer. I was pretty banged up. You know what I mean? Like honestly, I probably
No, we were
I
like
needed the
we're
rest.
coming. It's his birthday. He's gonna be in the fucking lineup. We're gonna watch him throw hands.
I remember
and
being rattled too because it was my birthday. It's like,
it ended up being like a 1-0, just a stinker of a game.
No fights. And like if I was playing me, like there's definitely like their captain was like a handful for me all year. Like,
that would have been good.
Damn. Yeah, man, that's the worst. I don't know. I feel like I put so much pressure on me too, and people are coming because I've had that happen. I've had that happen before, but yeah, I'm sorry, dude. I wish I could have been.
Okay. I was just saying, it's big production. Actually, I really like what Kansas City was doing, and I wanted to kind of get your opinion on, I guess kind of this step up versus like the production value and how big of a difference the coast is compared to, kind of what you've been playing up to our point here, what we talked about.
I mean, the Fed for sure. Obviously, it's a no-brainer. The coast is just so much. It's just NHL now, man. Like even when I played in the Central League, like my team was affiliated with the Avalanche, but it was like we had a couple American League goalies and stuff, but like it wasn't like you don't look around the league and see NHL contracts left. Every team has an NHL contract essentially, right? Like nowadays, that's what it's like. Where back then it didn't really happen. Like when I played in Denver, we were affiliated with the Avalanche and I think Lake Erie. And that in the Central League, and I don't really remember a ton of like American League or NHL deals. Like unless I was just totally like didn't have a clue, but like it was it was just so different back then. Nowadays it's like all the way top to the bottom now, NHL to the coast. It's like they take it serious, right? And the cool part is like these NHL teams with the affiliations have so much say, and like they don't want their players going to a place that's not getting taken care of or, doesn't feel like like a professional hockey. So it's definitely come a long way. And the coolest thing to me is just like how fast the game's gone just in 10 years. It's like, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's incredible. Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, in Danbury with the hat tricks, you had a bit of an interesting situation there in I believe your second season. Your first season, you guys win a championship, and then the next year, I believe you ended up getting suspended, and then they added after you served like a ridiculous amount. They ended up indefinitely banning you, and then that led for you to go to the coast that year. So you mind just going over what happened there and the situation with the Fed?
Pretty upsetting situation. Like they honestly kind of screwed me around like really badly, and still got a pretty sour taste in my mouth because of it. But like at the end of the day, they made me serve 16 games, I think, or 12 games of my suspension. They gave me 18 games for a hit. Like it was like the most outrageous thing, like they had already been outrageous with my suspensions, and like everyone, honestly, my suspensions were hits. Like most of them were hits. Like I was just too big and too strong in that league. And like, I kind of came out of a time machine, hadn't played for 10 years. I came out of the Central League where blindside hits were normal. Right. And like, honestly, like the first guy hit real bad, like he wasn't looking, and it's like, okay, that was kind of on me. Like, I know you can't do that anymore. He's got to see you coming now. Like you got to get stick on puck. Like there's a million things now. It's so the responsibility now has gone from the guy getting hit to the one delivering the check, which makes which makes it impossible, because you got to make this split second decision of, am I going to kill this guy or do I just let him completely toast me? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, if the guy doesn't see you coming, you don't hit him. So it's like, it's almost like you're almost like better off just having your head right completely down. So it was a little tough to adjust, but at the end of the day, they gave me 18 games for a hit that, I seen it happen 10 times worse this year in the coast to a guy on my team, got like really bad concussed, but it was like, this was like a full on forearm shiver to the back of the head. And like the guy in the coast got 3 games, mine wasn't even a shiver. It was like my arm came up a little bit. Like it was definitely like not super clean contact, the way he turned away just as I was hitting him and stuff. But it was like one of those things, man. It's like 18 games. And then they made me serve 12 of them. And then they're like, oh, actually, you're done. You can't come back, basically, is what
That's
happened.
fucking crazy.
And then,
ridiculous.
At that point, I had already turned down multiple coast call-ups. Like, I was comfortable in Danbury. I mean, AJ had stuff going on. Like, I wasn't ready. I knew at some point I wanted to play in the coast again. But I just turned down Kansas City like a month or two before that.
Oh, wow.
Tulsa, like I had a bunch of teams calling me, and I was saying no, no, no. And then that happened, and right away I called my agent. I'm like, get me the fuck out of here. Like, let's figure out what we're going to do. And then it was like within a week or two, he called me. He's like, hey, I think Fort Wayne wants to sign you. And it was absolutely awesome because it was kind of a big FU to the FPHL because, you're not going to let me play. I'll just go, jump 2 levels up and play some real hockey, So, it was BS that they treated me that way and kind of have sour taste in my mouth. But yeah, at the end of the day, it was a blessing, and that kind of just shows you that, nothing happens to you, everything happens for you. Like that was just reinforcement into that for me, and just kind of realizing like the worst situation in the world is happening for the right reasons, whether you know it or not. And at the end of the day, I kind of just, it was one of those things where I'm like, kind of just a realization for me and kind of let me, let go a little bit of things like that. So.
Nice. That's a pretty good outlook to have on a shitty situation like that. As for this year, I mean, obviously you played in KC this year. I wanted to ask, like, if your plans for this year were official yet, like what you're doing.
Yeah, no, nothing signed yet. So the Kansas City sent me a qualifying offer, but essentially what happened was they sent me a qualifying offer like a little bit late. So I was able to, if I could have signed it and made a little bit more money, or I just don't sign it and I can go wherever I want. Meaning I could still sign in KC, but it's just like, if you have a chance to be an unrestricted free agent, like it's, honestly, like it's a pretty nice spot to be in, especially when you got a family and, there's some places that, I could maybe go farther down south and be in the sun or have easier travel. Like, I don't know. So at the end of the day, it's just kind of opened the doors for me and some options. So that's all it is. It's nothing, nothing crazy. And, they offered me the qualifying offer, and it's just, business is business, man. At the end of the day, we're all just a number on a piece of paper. And as you get older, like in my situation, I know that. And so when I have an opportunity like that to at least have the ball back in my own hand, I like to take it, so.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I remember hearing on Spit and Chicklets, Mike Grinnell was saying he would love to bring you to their new coast team down in Greensboro. So I thought, just wanted to ask about that. Joe, you got anything else?
No, I just wanted
to ask here.
I didn't have anything else. I was just I was going to lead into that as well if that had been an option. But I mean, Kansas City seemed like an amazing spot to play as well. So
yeah, and we were honestly
a lot on your plate there.
Yeah, KC were so good too. So like, at the end of the day, KC's they they got the personnel and stuff to potentially win it all. So it's at the end of the day, it's what's best for me and my family. So just waiting for the right opportunity. And I'm pretty zen about it. I'm pretty like, things happen for a reason, I feel like. And the way that happened, I just like, the way I kind of live my life, I really do listen. When things like that happen, I listen. I feel like it happened for a reason. So I just took the opportunity and kind of just seeing where it goes. And, maybe it leads me back to Kansas City. Maybe it doesn't. So we'll see.
That's awesome.
The last thing I wanted to ask, I just noticed this throughout our podcast here, but like your mindset on sports and life in general, it's just like, has that been developed, you think, solely based on sports, or has it been kind of developed outside sources? Like you seem to be like super zen, super down to earth, like everything happens for a reason type thing. Do you think you can kind of attribute that to your experience in sports, or is it kind of outside sources? How does that?
I think both. I think like, a little bit of both. I think at the end of the day, like I went through really hard times when I didn't have the game. And I like that 8 years I had off, I was just so like, I kind of said it earlier, I was a little bit lost in my journey. I just didn't really know where I was headed. And I just was sad and didn't really have my shit together, right? And there's so much pressure on a young man to have it all figured out by the time you're, 25, 26, when it's like you're just so young, you have eternity to figure it out, it almost seems, But I feel like I think a lot of the stuff I went through, a lot of the suffering that I went through, I just got to a point where I was like, I have to, like, I'm a fighter, right? So it's like, how can I give myself power? Because like these bad things just kept happening. It was over and over and over. And until I was able to just let go and realize that like these things weren't happening to me and they're happening for me in order to teach me and help me grow and help me learn things. And, you know, I kind of just developed this. I lost a lot of friends and family in a short period of time. And I kind of got to the point where I had to find a way to cope with it and not lose myself. And that's what it was, man. I honestly got to a point where I started to think of it as like, man, these people were so strong that they were able to go through death in their journey to help me grow and learn and you know, essentially struggle a little bit more so I can learn from it. And it kind of just was a way for me to get my power back. And honestly, since then, I've just used it in all aspects of life. And it just kind of, you know, it kind of just put the power back in me and made me realize that, like, you know, I'm 100% sure in my mind that there's more than just like this physical world. And I feel that in my heart, but it's like, I just, you know, I feel like there's somebody guiding me and whatever is happening for the right reasons. And I feel like at the end of the day, it just gives me power in everything and in manifesting my sports career and my family and everything. Like, I'm 100% certain that, you know, I'll be okay and the universe will provide for me and my family. And, as long as I'm good in my heart, then the universe will be good back to me. So
sorry to get too deep on you there, but I just noticed that when we were talking. But
no, I appreciate it.
Something on my mind.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I like sharing that kind of stuff. Like, I feel like that's, you know, something I share as much as I can, and I want people to know that about me. And so I kind of talk that way. And you know, at the end of the day, man, we all have our struggles and we all go through things. And like, I mean, we've all been through it to the point where you feel like, why are all these things happening to me? It's like, you know, and it's always like, you always think like, if God is real, why is God going to make my life heck or hell? You know, like, why would that be? Why would God do that? You know? And then you start to realize it's like, you know, sometimes you learn the most from the hardest scenarios. So I got to the point where I just, you know, it kind of was a way for me to get power back. And honestly, man, it's got me to where I am now. And the power of the mind is, you know, I feel like it's just, you know, it's an amazing thing once you can find that positive attitude and, you know, share it with the world.
Completely agree with you there, bud.
Yeah. Thank you.
Oh, it's really cool to hear about all that side.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. So I mean, I just quickly want to ask, like, do you have any big must tell stories, just all timers that you got for us before we wrap things up here?
Damn, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's always like, I always joke around about like minor league stories. Like, I think one of the coolest stories I told you about one of my teammates getting called up, right? So he was our goalie, Victor Osman. He's from Sweden, like, nicest guy in the world, never been in a fight in his life. And we're playing in Utah. And the game is just a shit show. We're pumping these guys, like, I think it was 9-1 or like 10-1. Like, we were just killing these guys. And their captain was a headache, so I'm running their captain. Like, it was just like we were trucking them, and then we were just running them through the boards. Like, we were just absolutely taking this team's soul, right? And our backup goalie got called up. So what happened was we had an e-bug, and this e-bug, he wasn't the greatest, dude. Like, this guy couldn't really go down. He was probably in his 60s. Like, he was like probably late 50s. Like, dude, like, there's no way this guy can go in, like, for sure, right? So I'm in the penalty box. What happens is a big scrum breaks up, or one of our players hits their goalie or something. I don't even know. Their goalie comes out of the net, starts trying to fight all our players. He's blockering guys. He's slashing guys. He's like shaking his gloves, and everybody's like, what the fuck? Like, what do you do? Like, what do you do? Like, if I'm out there, I'm just going to punch the goalie's lights out personally. But like, I'm in the penalty box. I'm sitting there. I'm like looking, and next thing you know, we see Victor Osman, our goalie, skating out. He's on an NHL deal.
No.
He's on an NHL deal, and he starts skating out. I'm in the penalty box, so I see him. And then I see their bench, or our team's bench, right behind Vic. And our team bench is all yelling, "Don't do it. No, Vic, don't." Like, number one, you're on an NHL deal. You break your hand, you're fucked. Number two, like, we got a 90-year-old e-bug. Like, you know what I mean? Like, they can get 10 shots in the next 10 minutes. You know what I mean? Like, that's all they need, 10 shots. They're back in the game. So, like, So we're like, you see the coaches screaming, everybody's screaming, and our goalie, Osman, is just in the zone, dude. He's just like not looking at anybody, and I'm banging on the glass, yelling, do it. Like I'm cheering him on, do it. So next thing you know, he drops his gloves, dude, takes his gloves off, and this Osman, he's like blonde hair, blue eyes, this guy. He's got like the brightest blue eyes, and I could just, his eyes were just locked on this kid. And the kid was a big boy, and Osman just 2 punches him, bop, bop, 2 shots. And the funniest part was that he would, at the beginning of the year, I'd do all these like fight clinics at the end of practice, and Vic would always be there.
Yeah.
He would always be there. And I'm like, Vic, I'd be like, Vic, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, Ames, you never know. Like with his accent, I'm like, just hilarious. You never know, Ames. I'm like, okay, 2 punches this goalie. Okay. It was like coolest night. Everybody's like, oh my God. He gets kicked out because whatever, goalies usually get kicked out when they fight. But my penalty ended right as that fight happened. So I skate over and I tell my coach, usually the reason the goalies get kicked out is because they're the second fight. But when they're the first fight, they don't get kicked out. They just go back to their crease. So I tell my coach, I'm like, dude, he's not kicked out. I'm telling you. He's like, what? Are you sure? The refs didn't know the rules. Nobody knew the rules. They're flipping through the rule books trying to figure it out. Next thing you know, I run. They're like, hey, go get him. They're like, he can play. I run into the back. He puts his gear back on. He comes out and finishes the game. Thank fucking God. Because I swear to God, they would have beat us. They would have beat us with freaking 10 shots.
10 shots.
Oh, my God. And then, so then that happens. And then fast forward maybe like a month, Vic gets called up to the American League. Injury happens in Seattle, ends up getting called up to the Kraken, and they're in Utah. And we're watching him on TV, and he's backing up in an NHL game in Utah. Utah's pumping Seattle like 6-1. And we're all just like, oh my God, like, is this going to happen? Like, is it going to happen? And he comes out to start the third period, dude. We were all in the room watching it together. We're just like, let's go. We're all high-fiving, like, fucking screaming, like, let's go, Vic. Like, boys are just crushing beers. Like, we were just so pumped for this kid. And it was just such a cool thing because it was in Utah when he got in that fight. And then it was like a month later, he's back in Utah. Now he's playing an NHL game. And I'm just listening to these guys talk about how he got called up. This is the coolest thing. And I'm like, if these commentators only knew the story, you know what I mean? If they only knew that story, like it would have just been like such a hit. But I think that was the coolest thing, you know, this year for us, 100% to see that, and not a more deserving guy in the world that got the opportunity, Vic, like, and he will end up in the NHL. I know that at some point. So it was cool to see him get his little cup of tea up there and, you know, get a nice little payday for a couple of weeks and put some money on the board when he got back.
Nice. Wow, that's an incredible story. Like so many, like especially with the initial fight and like what it led to. That's unbelievable.
Just both being in Utah, it was just like it made it extra special, you know. And I honestly feel like when stuff like that happens, it's like back in Utah, it's just like we're all watching it. Like it's just like, man, like how can you not think that there's someone out there guiding this journey and this story? You know, it's like I see stuff like that, and I'm like, you can't just have that many coincidences. But it was an awesome story, and it was so fun to share with my team. And like I said, couldn't happen to a better guy. So
that's great,
that's incredible. Love to hear
that. When you're given those fight tips, right? So I guess. This is kind of my last. I guess this is my one last question here. If you were to give, you know, viewers, obviously we got a lot of Pidge guys. Who are wearing visors now, by the way. Yeah. So there's some guys that can fight now. If you were to give, you know, a crash course, real quick, 5 minutes, guy fucking can't fight. How are you turning him into to a brawler here? Like what tips are you giving him?
I would say most importantly, like you got to get a good grab. You know, the first thing you want to get a good grab, whether it's like on the top of the shoulder, on the elbow, or the neck. Those are kind of 3 of your main spots. But like most importantly behind that, when you get your grab, is just keep your chin tucked into your arm. Just because then it kind of just keeps like this whole side of your face protected. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like, you know, that's what I always tell guys when they grab, to just kind of have your chin tucked into here, and at least that way he can only punch you from your eyebrows up from the one side. So if you can learn to keep your chin tucked like that, and then just over and under as fast as you can, as quick and aggressive as you can, and when you see an opportunity to get the fuck out if you have to, you know. Like I always say to the younger guys, like if like a lot of the guys that teach how to fight, it's not like they're fighters. They're usually like skilled guys that they're scared they're going pro, coming out of the dub or something, and they just want to like at least have the gun on their hip if they just to make them a little bit more confident, right? Like at the end of the day, it's scary, man. Like going from junior to pro and like running into guys like me and like whoever else might be out there barking at you, trying to throw you off your game, you know. So I always try to, you know, put the gun on their hip, and you know, you don't want these guys to have to do what I do to play, but having the gun on your hip never hurt anybody. And, you know, at the end of the day, would you rather have it on your hip and not need it than not have it at all and then shit pops off, you know? So
exactly. It's confidence, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's like, I always say it's like the same thing as like giving MMA to like a shy kid, you know, like they're going to open up a little more in a group of people if they know how to whoop ass. Like, it's just like it's a psychology thing, you know? So same thing with your game, man. If you have that little bit of confidence or swagger where you don't necessarily have to worry so much about someone taking you out or beating you up. It's like you can kind of play with a little more swagger and a little more confidence, and, you know, not necessarily looking over your shoulder as much. It just makes everything easier. So.
Oh, fair enough. I think that sounds like some pretty good. Man. That sounds like some pretty good advice. Yeah.
Well, yeah. No. 100%.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't have anything else to ask. So, I mean, unless either of you guys have anything, I think we'll probably wrap it up here. But that was incredible. That was
a really, really good interview, man. I don't know why I'm a goalie asking you for fighting tips.
Well, hey, Vic was a goalie asking for fighting. Look what happened to him. So,
however, in Vic's shoes, I'll be looking for the pass.
Two punch. I'll send you guys the video.
Yeah, please do. That was awesome. But so just thank you so much for your time and doing this. Like, I know you're up in Vernon with the family. It's late. It's dark outside. You're still out here. So thank you so much for your time and for doing this, for supporting the pod. It really means a lot. And it was pretty awesome to get to sit down and chat with you still. Thank you.
I appreciate you guys for having me on, and like shout out to everybody grinding out in the pitch, man. Like that laid the foundation for me. I never played junior in another league, so I'm 100% Pidge born, playing in the coast. So I don't know if there's anyone else that said that, but I'm the guy right now. So don't let the dream die in the pitch, boys.
Fuck yeah, man.
That's
Love
beautiful.
it. Yeah. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.